Group 1, welcome to your May 2023 prediction. You can't see her, but Gracie's hanging out. She has blessed your cards. Alright, so let's get into it. So we're going to do all uprights today, and I was drawn to the Pastel Journey Tarot for you all. Group 1. This deck always has such a nice energy. I think May is going to be a pleasant month for you, but let's get into it. Okay. A big thank you to my guides and your guides for coordinating these messages. Group 1. Yeah, pleasant. We've got the star. Okay. That's a very good start. Let's see what else we have here. I'm hearing, though, that this month will be what you make of it. So there's going to be certain things that require a higher perspective. And then we have the Hanged Man. Yes, a different perspective here. The Princess of Wands. We'll get one more card and then we'll get started. This might be a little bit of a longer reading because I'm shuffling on camera today, but I don't think you guys will mind. Ah, the Emperor. Okay. And your bottom of the deck here is the Knight of Pentacles. Okay. So we've got the Star, the Hanged Man, the Princess of Wands, and the Emperor here. So picking back up on what I was channeling before for you all, May is going to be what you make of it. So it's not going to be all smooth sailing. It is going to require you to have sort of a zoomed out lens on your life. So if you think about the star, right? One star in the entire universe. So pulling back and taking a higher perspective here. So there may be certain things that happen in May that may not make sense to you on the surface, or that may spark some anxiety or some worry, like why is this happening, or why didn't I get that opportunity, something like that. But trust and have faith. Trust that there's a higher plan to all of this, because there is a major up-leveling that you're being prepared for in your life. So going from the Princess of Wands to the Emperor, like feeling very empowered. If I had to say anything about the month of May, it's going to put you on a track towards self-empowerment and feeling like sort of like the pieces are being put together finally. And I think that's why you're being asked to have just a bit more faith, a bit more trust, a bit more of a sense of surrender here, because things may not make sense to you as as they're unfolding. Like, why didn't I get that opportunity? If you didn't get something, it's because there's something better. And with the star here, it's like we're trying to help some sort of wish come true. We're trying to help you feel like almost like you're important in your own life, because I feel like for some of you, there's this feeling of detachment and this feeling of like, I'm living a life that doesn't feel quite like mine. And so it's like having dominion over yourself and your life, and having the freedom to choose, and having more fun and having more adventure, and feeling like you're participating again. And so I feel like for a lot of you, you've been feeling stuck, you've been feeling stagnant or trapped even. And so the month of May is sort of that transitional period to get you to this place of feeling like you can have fun again, feeling like you can let your hair down again, feeling like you don't have to feel so worried. And the key to all of that is trusting and surrendering to the process. So for some of you, maybe you're job hunting in the month of May and you think for sure you're going to land a certain position and then you don't get it. And so you see, like, if you had a more limited perspective, you would be upset, you would feel anxious, you would be worried, you would maybe be freaking out a little bit, But if you have that higher perspective, you're like, oh, okay, there must be something better for me. There's a better opportunity, that's being saved for you. So I think honestly, if there was any mantra you were gonna have in the month of May, is that what is meant for me will always be for me, because there's some sort of spot I'm hearing, there's some sort of spot that's being saved for you. And so for some of you, maybe this could be talking about your love life. Maybe you are dating and you think you hit it off with someone and then they ghost you, and if you had a more limited perspective, you could be really upset by that, right? But if you have a higher perspective, you're like, oh, well, that person wasn't meant for me. I must be, you know, being saved for someone else. And whoever my future person is, the one that's right for me and is going to meet, you know, whatever like your wish is with this star card, whatever it is that you're hoping for in a romantic partnership, that person is being saved for you too. So there's this idea, I don't know, I'm hearing like your spot is being saved. Your spot is being saved. And so there's this sense of like finding your place in this world, finding your place in your own life, feeling like you belong to something, or you belong to someone, or you belong to somewhere. There's this deep need, I feel like, for belonging here. And for some of you, this could even be talking about your soul family and like feeling like, where is my tribe? Where is my community? Where are my people? So, you know, this could be talking about a lot of different stuff, and I'm sure we'll get more clarity as we get into your oracle cards here. It is a general reading though, so I'm going to try to keep it as broad as I can, but I think overall, your tarot is really encouraging you going into the month of May. Keep an open mind, try to tap into that higher perspective. And you know, if you're someone who pulls your own tarot or pulls your own oracle cards, I'm hearing don't be afraid to do that in the month of May. Like if you need extra guidance, if you need extra support, don't feel afraid to ask for help. Don't feel afraid to ask for clarity. You know, if you feel like you're not seeing signs or you're confused, maybe you're someone who sees signs everywhere and then you get all turned around. Maybe it's the opposite problem, but you know, don't feel afraid to ask for clarity. Don't feel afraid to ask for help or for guidance, because I'm hearing your guides say, listen, we'll send you as many signs as you need. We will send you as many signs as you need. I actually had an experience recently, because I'm actually job hunting right now because I'm planning on moving, and I applied to this company and I had never heard of them before, but apparently they're a really large company. And I was driving, you know, just driving on my commute, and I have driven on this road so many times. And for some reason, I looked back to my left as I was driving. No reason for it. There was no car coming up. I wasn't trying to change lanes or something. Something just told me to look back to my left. And I did, and up high on the hill, I saw the building, and it was for that company that I had applied to. Now, I didn't apply to that location because, like I said, I'm trying to move, but I had never noticed that building before. I've driven past it so many times. I don't look back for no reason when I'm driving, right? But something in my gut told me that day, look back to your left. It was just like clear as day, like look back to your left, and I did, and bam, I happened to see it way up on the hill too, like way back up on the hill. And that's where my eyes were drawn to. And so now I'm thinking, and I have an interview, actually, a second interview with that company coming up later this week, and I'll bet you anything I get that job. Like I'm telling you. And so there may be something like that that happens in the month of May where, you know, maybe you feel called to ask for a more clear sign, or maybe something in your gut tells you to do something that doesn't quite make sense. Like I was told in the car, just a random thought in my head, a download, look back to your left. And so if something like that happens in May, please remember this reading and just follow that directive, whatever it is. You know, like if you feel intuitively like, maybe I should go here, or maybe I should do that this day, and there's no real clear reason for it, it's just maybe a random thought that pops into your head, do it. Because I feel like, I'm sorry, I'm getting a little off track here, but I feel like in the month of May, you're going to be seeing signs, you're going to be getting downloads. It's going to be a month where you really need to key into your intuition, 100%. It feels, honestly, like May is a pretty pivotal month for you. Okay, let's continue. I think I want to use, let's get your major themes for the month. Let's do that. We'll get 2 cards maybe. Major themes for group 1. We have imagination. Imagination, now set me free, divine ones, I send my thanks to thee. And we've got study here. And then your bottom of the deck here is strength. self-empowerment. Like I said, you're so much stronger than you realize, 100%. And I think where your strength really lies is in your creativity, and Spirit is really wanting you to expand, almost like I'm hearing your belief system, what you think is possible for yourself. I'm hearing right now is very limiting. And that could be because of your own, self-doubts, or it could be because on a subconscious level, you're being influenced by other people around you who are maybe not with like bad intentions, but just because of their own perspective or their own belief system, they're kind of encouraging you to think smaller, or to be more practical, or to be more realistic. And I feel like Spirit is saying, no, do the opposite of that. Dream bigger. Imagine more for yourself. And really take a close look at those belief systems that you have and say, how is this holding me back? Because there's a real need for you to expand your perspective, and a real need for you to imagine more for yourself, to want more for yourself, and to understand that you deserve more for yourself. Don't limit yourself. And I think on a practical level too, for some of you, you really are going to be, I think, doing a lot of planning, but also almost like a lot of envisioning or daydreaming, and Spirit is encouraging you to lean into that. So if you're wanting to start something new, whether it's in your career or whether it is in like a side hustle project, a creative endeavor, whether it's dating, doesn't matter what it is, or even a new hobby, really try to see yourself fulfilling that role, whatever it is, and try to see how you can push it even further. So let's say, for example, you've been contemplating for a while that you want to start your own business. With the Emperor, that could definitely be possible, right? Do sort of both sides to this. Like, do the practical work of studying to figure out how to start that business, how to get it off the ground, what materials you'll need, what supplies you'll need. If you can ask for advice from people who are already doing something similar, get a mentor, something like that. Do all of that, but also balance that out with envisioning yourself being successful with this new business, envisioning what it will be like, what it will feel like to have clients or fans or customers who are happy with your work and who are supportive and encouraging. Imagine how good you'll feel feeling successful in doing something that you love, and having financial abundance from that project. So sorry, I'm a little bit sniffly today, but do both sides, okay? So do the grounded work, but don't forget to balance that out with envisioning, daydreaming, and I think just giving yourself permission to, again, want more for yourself. You don't have to feel guilty if you feel dissatisfied with your life. Don't feel like, oh, I should be grateful for what I have. Listen, you wouldn't have those desires, you wouldn't have those urges for something more if you weren't meant for something more. So, I mean, we're not meant to be complacent. So you can feel grateful for what you have and still want more. You don't have to feel guilty for that. Let's see what else is going on in the month of May for you. And listen, starting your own business is just an example. Like I said, this can apply to multiple areas of your life, so always take what resonates. We've got play, have fun, celebrate, and don't be so serious. This goes really well with the Princess of Wands, and we were saying that before, having more fun, feeling like you can let your hair down. And I think that's where this balance is coming in too, because yes, do like the hard practical work of whatever this is, but also balance it out with having fun, daydreaming, envisioning it being a huge success, whatever it is. And we've got Starseed, what lights you up? Yeah, some of you really are wanting that sense of belonging. I think if you're a starseed, you kind of, and whether you believe in starseeds or not isn't really, I guess, relevant to the reading, but if you identify with that, that would make a lot of sense to me, because in the beginning we were talking about this craving for soul family and this craving for a sense of belonging and feeling a bit out of place, I feel like. And so the month of May is that pivotal point where you are starting to find that sense of home, that sense of belonging, but also I feel like now this sense of purpose too. Some of you are going to be both aligning with your soul's purpose and sort of like what you feel like you were meant to do, but also there's this beautiful balance here of understanding a big point to all of this is to just be, to just exist, to just feel joyful, to just feel connected, right? You know, it's not all work all the time. It's not. And so I feel like you're coming more into this sense of balance and understanding a big part of why you're here is just to feel joyful, is to just to feel happy. And yeah, you're not going to feel like that all of the time, but you should at least be carving out space in your life for things that make you feel joyful, for things that, or even people, you know, that you can have fun with, that you can feel safe even to let your hair down with and have some fun. I actually want to get one more card from this deck. Yeah, some of you have been feeling quite lonely, and I actually feel like, because I know Saturn is moving around here, so if you can see the rings of Saturn here, yeah, for some of you, I feel like the energy of Saturn has been pretty pervasive in your life, and Saturn is father time, and it's very much about discipline and hard work and ambition, and yeah, there's a big payoff with that, but it can take its toll over time, right? And so I feel like for some of you, there's this lightness that's coming in, this feeling of like joyfulness, and this understanding that life isn't meant to be hard all the time, and that even in the darkest of times, we can still find moments of joy. And I feel like there are certain lessons that you have, certain challenges that you have overcome, lessons that you have learned, where it's almost like the universe is pulling back now, or the energy of Saturn is pulling back now and saying, okay, they've come out on the other side, they have done what they needed to do, and so now it's time, I feel like, for a gentler cycle. And it's not that there aren't going to be challenges in the future, or there's not going to be, you know, maybe some, I feel like they're perceived setbacks because everything is lining up as it's meant to. But if you're not taking that higher perspective, and that's hard to do, right? We're only human. But if you're seeing things from a more limited perspective, you could feel like there are some setbacks in May, although ultimately everything is working out for your highest good. But I feel like, you know, the energy of Saturn is saying Group 1 has done what they needed to do, and now it's time for them to sort of enjoy the fruits of their labor, because I feel like you were put on this sort of like rocky road, right? And now you've come to this place where Spirit is like, okay, we've redirected you as much as we needed to, and now it's time for you to just be on your path. And when the path is meant for you, even if it has its challenges along the way, it's so much easier than feeling like, okay, I'm dealing with all of these challenges and I'm unsure or I'm uncertain if I'm even on the right path. I don't even know where I'm going. I don't even know who I am. That's the worst feeling, right? But now it feels like you're in this place of working towards something that actually means something to you. So if this is your love life, this is you getting into a relationship with someone where you actually want to do the work because they feel like your person. Or if this is career related, it's like, okay, I'm finally in a job, or I'm finally in a position in my career where I actually want to put in the work and I feel connected, and I'm not sitting in the back of my mind thinking, should I go? Should I even be here? Should I even be like trying to move up in this company? Is this even right for me? You know, there's something about self-doubt that is melting away because you are having that place of, or that sense of belonging. I hope I'm making sense, because I feel like your reading, honestly, like as I'm channeling it, feels like this odd push and pull between the spiritual and the material. And so there's like double sides to all of these messages. And again, I really hope that I'm making it clear. Okay. Ooh, that came out really fast. Where are you being called to journey to? Yeah, I mean, it really feels like you're finally going to be on the right path. And with this, where are you being called to journey to? I feel like this is emphasizing that point we were making before about the month of May being one of surrendering to a higher perspective, a month where you really need to pay attention to your intuition, to any like gut urges, you know, like any intuitive nudges, like whatever you want to call it. Follow your instincts here. This isn't the month to overthink. It's not the month to be super logical, honestly. Like if you're someone who tries to make decisions where you write out a pro-con list and you try to be really logical and practical, it's just not the month for that. You know, that sort of thinking process has its place, but for you, not in the month of May. In the month of May, you're being called to follow your heart, to follow your intuition, to follow those instincts. We have the breathing rose, heart healing, emotions, connection, time, eases. Divine feminine energy for sure is going to be significant in the month of May for you. It's almost like, okay, if you've ever done yoga or any type of breath work, this idea, it's almost like your life is following that pattern of sort of the importance of inhaling and exhaling. How do I explain this? Being intentional. So if you've ever done, like I said, yoga or breath work, sometimes they'll say like, okay, we're inhaling good, we're exhaling bad, we're inhaling, and they'll guide you sort of through certain things. So they'll say like, we'll inhale peace and harmony, we'll exhale control, that sort of thing. It's almost like that's how Spirit is speaking to you. Like they want you to feel grounded, but they also want you to be connected to the divine. So it is tricky. It is tricky. It's like, yes, do the practical work, but feel free to have your head in the clouds, because we want you to dream bigger. We want you to want more. And so I feel like there's going to be something very healing about that, about you finally feeling like you have struck a balance between your spiritual path and the material world and the demands of the material world. Because it is hard, right? Like I myself, like I've watched tarot readings before, and I've mentioned this before on the channel, but I've watched tarot readings, I think especially when I was new to tarot, it was really hard because they'll say like, leave behind what isn't serving you. Spirit wants you to walk away from this, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, well, okay, but I can't walk away from this job because it pays my bills. And until I have something else lined up, I can't do that. I can't take that risk. You're asking me to take a risk I can't take. You know, certain things like that. It's not always as simple as, you know, what certain readings make it out to be. And that, I think that is, if that's something that you've struggled with, where you want to follow the divine guidance, but you don't know quite how to do that without maybe putting your finances in jeopardy, or putting yourself in a position where you don't have social support, or where you feel isolated, whatever the case is, I feel like that is, there's almost like this meeting in the middle, and it's like you're able to exist in both of those worlds in harmony. You know, like you have found this sort of balance between following the divine guidance, but also keeping yourself safe and secure. Yeah. Again, I really hope this is making sense, because I don't know if I'm translating the messages that I'm picking up on here clearly, but I hope that I am. I'm a little bit rusty too, because I took a couple of days off. So anyway, I hope it's making sense, group one. Okay. We have the Thorn, protection, boundaries, and clear communication. Yeah, there's a lot here about trust as well. There's a lot about trusting the process. There's a lot here about understanding, you know, every rose has its thorn, right? Understanding that every path is going to present certain challenges, whether we're talking about a relationship or whether we're talking about a career path, whatever the case may be, every rose has its thorns. So every possible path that you could take in life is going to have some challenges, but it's about which path is right for me, which path belongs to me, and what am I willing to fight for? What problems am I willing to deal with, and what problems, you know, aren't even ones that I want to bother solving. I read somewhere once where it was like, you know, every romantic relationship has its problems, right? And when you end one partnership and you begin another one, you're signing up for new problems. So which problems do you want to deal with, right? Like everyone, no one's perfect, right? And so everyone has their stuff, everyone has their issues. Which ones are you willing to cope with, right? Which ones are you willing to deal with and work with someone else? And you yourself have your own share of issues, right? We all have them. So almost like which baggage are you willing to deal with? And so I think there's this sense of like, okay, I have found my place of belonging. This is what I want to fight for. This is what I want to put my heart into. This is where I want to make my home. This is where I want to stake my claim. This is what is worth fighting for. So I feel like that's where you're ending May, is you're like, I have found what I want to fight for. I have found this place of belonging, whether it's in your career, whether it's in your love life, whatever the case may be, whatever your focus is for May, that is really where you're like, okay, this is it. This is what I want to fight for. This is what feels like it was meant for me. This belongs to me, and I belong to it. So there's that balance. And I feel like with clear communication too, that sort of sense of like feeling like you're finally clear on what you want and what is going to bring you that feeling of this is meant for me, this is right for me. We have the second bloom, a second chance, it's never too late, new possibilities. There's this feeling of reinvigoration, because I feel like, again, Saturn's been really heavy, a really heavy presence in your life, and you may have been feeling really beaten down. You may have been feeling really overwhelmed, really stressed, really like, what is even the point? Like, why do I keep getting up in the morning and dealing with this? And this feeling of like, this life isn't mine. And that's where that feeling of empowerment is coming through for the month of May. And with Saturn letting up on you, like literally pulling back, it's going to be so nice for you. It almost feels like you have breathing space now. There's this feeling of expansion, this feeling of like your soul has room to grow. And you're like, this is where I want to put down my roots. This is where I want to invest my energy into. This is what, again, like you want to fight for. And I feel like before you didn't feel very connected, and you didn't feel like you were like fighting for what. And so again, like just this idea of you finding your path, finding your sense of belonging, and feeling like, yes, this is what actually matters to me. Because before you were like, why am I holding on to this? Why am I holding on to this person, this place, this job? Why am I holding on so tightly? It doesn't even matter much to me. And it was kind of this feeling of like, well, something is better than nothing. And now you're out of that feeling, and now you're in this place of like, yes, like this is what I've been seeking. This is what I've been yearning for. This is, I really feel like a sense of home is coming through for you in May. Okay, what's your energy throughout the month? Group 1. We have she who loved once, blue, fragile, secret love, rejection. Yeah, that's why I said a higher perspective, because there's going to be probably a little bit of a grieving process, a bit of a sense of loss, because things have to be cleared away, right, for new stuff to come in. And so you are giving up one path to step onto what is meant for you. And if you have a limited perspective, you'll think things are just being stripped away from you, when really you're being redirected to your path. And so that's why the trust is important. But you know, you may even wonder, like, why am I feeling this sense of loss over something I didn't really even care about, or that wasn't really fulfilling me? And it's because I think it's a bittersweet feeling for you, and I think it's more about the loss of what you thought it would be, and that loss of almost like innocence, and that wishing of like, man, I was so full of hope when that started, when that relationship started, when I started that job, when I moved to that place, I had so much hope. And so it's less about the thing, the place, or the circumstance, the person, or the relationship, and more about a grieving for the loss of that more naive version of you that had all of that hope and that had all of those wishes for that thing to work out. And almost like that desire that you could go back to that. And I feel like Spirit is saying, no, like, you're so much wiser now. And so grieve what you need to grieve, but understand that all of this was meant to teach you something, and you have learned, and never regret what you went through, because without it, you wouldn't have the wisdom that you have now. She who emerges, enlightenment, mindfulness, rise up. I mean, what a beautiful transition here, right? What a beautiful transition. Enlightenment. Like, you have grown, you have learned so much, you're so much wiser. And that rise up, like feeling empowered, staking your claim, finding your crown. And mindfulness, feeling more connected, feeling like this life belongs to you and you belong to it. I feel like for some of you, you may have felt like, why am I here? Why am I here? Like, what is even, again, I feel like some of you have just found this, been feeling this profound sense of disconnection. And so it's almost like, okay, stay with me here, but it's almost like you were this puzzle piece and you were trying to find which picture you fit into. And after some time of not fitting in anywhere, you started to feel like there was something wrong with you. But there was never anything wrong with you. It was just not the right fit. And finally, you're stepping into this vision for your future where you belong. And so that's why it's almost like this feeling of, almost like Saturn was bearing down on your chest. And finally it has lifted up and said, okay, you have wisened up. You've learned those hard lessons. We can release this pressure now. And so there's this heart expansion and this feeling of like, I can breathe. And this feeling of freedom and this feeling of lightness, and yeah, a feeling of belonging. And we all want to belong, and we all want to feel understood, and we all want to feel seen. I almost forgot to use this deck, so let's take a look at this one. How are you going to be feeling throughout the month of May? I know we've already touched on this a little bit, but let's just see if we can expand it some more here. I'm not taking that many cards. Let's do it. Whoops. This card, okay. It came out twice. That feeling when lying in bed awake each night is the nightmare. Anxiety, yes. Like with the, you're like, why is she so excited about this? But I feel like this is what you have been going through. And I feel like this is part of the warning. Like, don't have that limited perspective. Have trust, have faith. Remember, everything is working out in your favor. Like, the universe is working in your favor, even when it doesn't feel like it. You're not being punished. That's not it. And so, you know, if you want to give in to that anxiety, if you want to, you know, overthink and fall prey to that, you will have those sleepless nights. You will worry, but it will be worrying for nothing. You will be expending your energy into fearing an outcome that is never actually going to happen. It's all in your head. And so I'm happy that this card came out, because now you can avoid this if you can remember this reading. And I know anxiety is a really powerful thing and not necessarily something you can control. However, I feel like it will bring you a great comfort if you can remember this reading, if you're having sleepless nights in the month of May because something hasn't worked out. If you can remember this reading and say, oh wait, everything is working out in my favor. So if something didn't come through for me in the way that I expected it to, it's because it wasn't meant for me and something better is coming along, because I am being put on the right path. I am being directed here. My soul is being called to something that is actually meant for me and going to bring me that sense of belonging and that sense of emotional fulfillment and connection that I've been craving. So it's all okay. Let's see, that feeling when you're guarding a powerful secret. I like how she has her third eye here. It's like, this actually came out in another reading that I did where I said it's like you're being given a cheat code. And that's kind of what it is here. Like, it's like you're being tipped off by spirit here. Like, listen, yeah, there's going to be some things in May that make you nervous, some things that don't work out, but it was meant to not work out. It's nothing that you're doing wrong. You're not a failure. You're not messing up. It's not because you're not good enough. It just wasn't meant for you. And what we have in store for you is so incredible that by the end of May, like, you're going to be on the right path. So, like, you know, if you're having this uncertainty during the early weeks of May, just ride that wave, you know, just like let it, feel what you need to feel and let it go, because it doesn't ultimately matter. By the end of May, you are going to be on the right path. So, like, it's almost like you're being given permission to not care, you know, to just let whatever flow. You know, if something doesn't work out, it's nothing to do with you. It just wasn't your path. And so just trusting in that process. That feeling when a book transports you. Yeah, like you're stepping into another world. You're stepping into a different narrative. You're stepping into like a different plot line, you know? And that story that you were telling yourself before, it was so limited. And, you know, if you think about when you're reading a story and you're imagining, right, like all of the different things that can happen in the novel. If you can think about your life in that way, like it's a story and like, oh wow, all of the different things that could happen to me, no matter how incredible, if this was a work of fiction, I could buy into it. Maybe imagining your life that way will help expand your perspective and to where you can believe that miracles can happen, that plot twists can happen. I feel like you're in store for a plot twist. That might actually be a cool reading to do. Comment down below if you would like to have a reading on the next plot twist in your life. I feel like that would be a cool reading topic. Let me know in the comments if you're interested in that. But anyway, I feel like that would help you expand your perspective if you could see yourself as a character in a story and say, like, how can the universe surprise me? What could actually happen? How could my life change overnight? Because it actually could, right? Or maybe not overnight, but by the end of May. All right, let's take some final words here from your guides. And this will end your reading. We got persevere, leave no stone unturned. I feel like there is going to be a need for some self-reflection here, and that if that anxiety or that fear or that worry comes up, I do feel like, feel what you need to feel, but if you want to examine it and say, like, what about my core belief system is contributing to that? You know, am I feeling this fear and anxiety because I think at my core that I'm incompetent, that I'm unlovable, that I'm not good enough? Like, what core belief is fueling this anxiety and tricking me into thinking that, you know, I'm not going to be happy, I'm not going to find my emotional fulfillment, that I'm doomed to fail? What is contributing to that? But you are being asked to sort of just ride the waves of your emotions in the month of May. We have hidden depths. You only see the surface, look beyond. We've said this over and over again in your reading, so if there's nothing else that you're going to take away from this, remember to see from that higher perspective as best as you can. Zoom out. Don't get overly focused on what you see right there in front of you, because there's so much happening behind the scenes for you. There's so much about there being a greater divine plan here, and it may not make sense to you, but it doesn't actually have to, right? You don't have to understand the plan. We have radiance. Keep your head held high and follow the sun. Follow your joy. Follow your joy in the month of May. We have change. As with the falling leaves, embrace change. There's going to be some major changes for sure by the end of May, because we kept talking about you being on a new path, right? About you being on the path that belongs to you, you know, like you don't have to stake your claim, it's already yours. And I think if you can remember that, like remember that there's something out there or someone out there for you that is meant for you. And I think some of you struggle to believe that because you struggle with that sense of belonging, but you do belong to this world, you do belong to this life, and you are meant to be here, and you do have a purpose. And your bottom of the deck is release, lighten your load. I think it's a lot about emotional release, releasing attachment to old belief systems, releasing attachment to almost like this Five of Cups energy of like what never was, what you hoped would be, but what was, oh my gosh, I can't even talk. But what was never, hold on. But what never was. There we go. Sorry, guys. You're grieving the loss of potential. Like you're grieving what you thought would be, but you're not grieving something that ever actually existed. You know, it's like you were putting your hopes and wishes and dreams into envisioning something, and now you're grieving the loss of that vision because you're understanding like, oh, that was never my path, that was never meant for me. And so, you know, it's just grieving the loss of like a fantasy. Okay. But I also feel like, you know, that fantasy, whatever it was that you held, from Spirit's perspective, like you were already dreaming too small. Like, you know, Spirit is saying, like, even if it was a person, they're like, man, you could do so much better. You know, like there is so much better out there for you. There is something that is, or someone that is so more right for you. More right for you. Okay, so group one, thank you for staying with me. I feel like, I don't know, I hope I delivered the messages okay. I hope it made sense, and I hope you enjoyed it. And yeah, best of luck to you in all your endeavors, and I will see you in my next one. welcome to your May prediction. So we're going to do all uprights today. A big thank you to my guides and your guides for coordinating these messages. May 2023, what does group 2 need to know? Please, Spirit. And we're shuffling on camera today, so it may take a little bit longer. We've got the Magician. Ooh, the 7 of Pentacles. The 5 of Swords. The 9 of Swords. The Ace of Wands. And the 3 of Cups. Okay, it is going, your bottom of the deck, I should say, is the Moon. Okay, there's a lot going on in the month of May for you. It does feel like a busy month, but it's busy. It's funny because group 1 had a little bit of this too. Yours is coming through in a different way, but it's busy both in terms of what you're doing, but also your mind is very busy in the month of May. I do feel like with this 9 of Swords, you have a lot on your mind, and it's because you have a lot on your plate. So there's a lot going on, some of it good, some of it challenging, okay? So I think as best as you can to sort of give yourself the best chance of feeling grounded, I guess, in the month of May and not feeling so overwhelmed is to focus on getting enough sleep, staying hydrated, making sure you are feeding yourself, taking care of yourself. Really focus on self-care as best as you can, just because it's a busy month. And I feel like it's a month where you can get overwhelmed if you're not careful, because with the 5 of Swords, it's like there's a lot of different things that are competing for your attention. And Sailor Mercury is the strategist, okay? So I feel like the month of May is going to require some planning, some organization, because there's things going on, like long-term goals that you have had, things that you have been working on that are requiring your attention. So for some of you, it could be, you know, like a side hustle, a creative project. It could be your work, whatever it is, school, whatever you've been working on for a while. So maybe some of you are in school and you've been working towards your degree, but then you also work a full-time job. It's like a lot of stuff is competing for your attention. And then we had the 3 of Cups. Friends, family, loved ones competing for your attention. Ace of Wands, you're also trying to start something new, or you're trying to have more fun, or you're trying to get out of your house more. It feels like your personal goals, your professional goals, your, sort of social relationships, everything is colliding and just demanding a lot of your attention. And there's some things that are up in the air, because all of these swords are making me feel like just things being thrown up in the air and your thoughts are trying to manage everything all at once. So, like, practically speaking, keep a list, keep a to-do list, keep a calendar, use a planner. Like, you've got to get, I don't know, Spirit's really encouraging you to get more organized in the month of May, clean your space, tidy up your space, because there's a lot, I feel like, that is going to be coming in for you. We got the Magician, so for some of you, like, whatever you've been trying to manifest may start to come in, but then that creates maybe like you're having less time in your schedule as a result of it. So like if you've been wanting to call in a romantic partner and then you meet someone really great, then all of a sudden maybe your friends are feeling neglected, or maybe you're getting to bed later and then you're half asleep at work the next day, you know, stuff like that. Like it just feels like you feel like you don't have enough time. You feel like you don't have enough time, you don't have enough energy. And it's not that there are like bad things going on. You have a lot of stuff going for you. You do. You have a lot of good stuff going for you. But it's just this feeling of, can I handle all of this? And with the moon here, there may be some unexpected like curveballs thrown your way. So it doesn't have to be negative, right? Like meeting someone really great. Maybe you're meeting this King of Cups. You know, meeting someone, forming a new friendship, getting a new job opportunity, moving somewhere. Like, it could just be creating this sense of like, I have so much on my plate. How do I manage it all? I wasn't expecting. This is actually reminding me a lot of how I felt back in December. Like, I graduated from my master's program and I found a job like that. And I hadn't even had my degree conferred or anything, and I was already starting this new job, studying for my licensing exam, and it was just a lot going on at that time. And it was all positive, but it was a struggle. And it was a struggle, like, balancing that out with trying to film for the channel. And then, you know, and then I got sick, and part of that was me neglecting my health. And so really, I feel like your health, your self-care, doing, and not just self-care in terms of physical self-care, but your emotional, spiritual self-care, somewhere in there you gotta find time for it, because I feel like this is Spirit saying, if you don't prioritize it, you won't give any energy to it. It will fall to the bottom of the list, and then you're gonna feel burned out. And if you're gonna manage all of this stuff, something's gotta give, and it can't be your health, okay? It can't be your health. Okay, let's get some more messages here for the month of May. Fruit 2, we have Star Mother. How can you mother yourself? Yeah, your health, your self-care, like taking good care of yourself, taking care of yourself as if you were your own child. That's what you need to do. And I'm guilty of this too. Like I said, I mean, I take better care probably of my cat than I do myself. So we have the initiation, rite of passage, crossing the threshold. Yeah, I mean, there's just a lot going on. There's a lot of like new beginnings for you. There's a lot of things you've been working on for a long time, finally picking up speed and showing progress. And it's just like, I don't know, I'm just getting this image of someone running around a garden and like trying to prune here, trying to water these plants here, trying to plant new seeds over here. You know what I mean? Like just feeling, and it's like, yay, I have all of this abundance. I have this beautiful garden, but it's getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And how do I manage it? It's like, you know, it's like a small business that suddenly gets double the amount of customers, and it's like, oh my gosh, I'm so grateful for all of these customers, but my team is too small. I need more helping hands. I can't manage all of this on my own. I wasn't expecting my business to grow this fast. How do I manage it? It's sort of like that, but with your life. You know, there's just a lot of good, but now you have more stuff to take care of. We have Brothers of the Rose, Sacred Masculine, Honor, Protection, Support. Some of you could be having a new relationship with a Divine Masculine counterpart, and that is why you're feeling, you know, like you have more on your plate, right? Because having a new romantic partner and then trying to figure out or trying to navigate how to combine your life with theirs, or how much energy and time you're going to give to that new relationship versus still, you know, like balancing out all of your other obligations and responsibilities. Like it can be a lot, right? Others of you, this could be, if you're not resonating with a romantic message, this could be talking about you needing to be in your Divine Masculine energy and really getting organized and being really practical and scheduling your time. If you're someone who's not used to doing that, that can be a big adjustment, right? But I feel like planning your day, scheduling out your time is going to be so helpful, because you're really going to have to strategize and be very intentional with how you spend your time, especially in order to not neglect your health. Okay, and we have the Mystic Rose, Compassion, Devotion, Humility, Humanity, and Grace. I feel like being kind to yourself, giving yourself time and space to adjust to all of this, because it is going to be a lot, And then we also have trust the seasons, embracing change, cycles of life, transition, and growth. It's a busier time for you. And this cycle's not going to last forever, but you are being called, I feel like, to step up and to understand like you're capable. You're capable of managing all of this. And some of you, you know, there could be a little bit of fear here of success, you know, and you know, you're like, I wanted this, but now that I have it, I'm really scared of losing it. And you may feel really hard on yourself about, you know, like, can I handle it? Am I good enough to manage all of this? You know, there could just be some insecurities that come up where you start to question yourself. Sailor Mercury, to go back to her in the show, like, she's the smartest of all of the Sailor Guardians. Like, she's so intelligent, but I would argue she probably, I mean, a lot of them have self-doubts, but she really, I feel like, doesn't understand how smart and how capable she is and the value that she adds to the team. And I feel like, you know, that's sort of the space that you're in, of like Spirit really wanting you to see your value and really wanting you to see your strengths and really wanting you to see how smart and capable and talented you are. And if you're feeling like, I can't do it, I can't do it, I can't do it, you can. You just got to work smarter, not harder. You just got to be more intentional with your time. There is enough time in the day. It's just a matter of restructuring your priorities and really deciding what you want to invest in and not putting yourself at the bottom of the list, man. Do not put yourself at the bottom of the list, because then you really will set yourself up for failure in the long term. It may free up some extra time for you in the short term, but you're not a robot. So in the long term, you will crash and burn if you don't take care of your health, if you don't value yourself. You know, our health is one of those things where until we lose it, you know, until we get sick or we get injured in some way, it's like we don't see it as important until we don't have it. And then we understand, oh, at the end of the day, our health is the only thing that truly, truly matters. I mean, you can't work when you're dead, right? It's a hard lesson to learn. I've had to learn it the hard way, just personally speaking. Okay, major themes of the month of May for you. We'll get, let's aim for 2 cards here. We've got Destiny. No wonder you're being called to step up, man. And Beauty. I feel like May is a glow up month for you. It's a glow up month, and not just physically, but just all around the board. Like, you are being called to step up and to claim your space. And so that's why there's probably this feeling of like pressure, and there's a lot going on and a lot happening, but it feels like, you know, you are in alignment here. You are on the right path. You know, group 1 was about being sort of realigned. I feel like you're already in alignment, group 2. Like, you are already exactly where you're meant to be. And yeah, there's a lot coming at you. There's a lot going on. There's a lot of manifestations that are coming into fruition for you, a lot of answered prayers, but it's like an onslaught of abundance. You know, it's that frantic running around the garden. All of these seeds I planted are blooming. Oh my gosh, I have to harvest all of this. How can I keep up? But all of this stuff wouldn't be coming into fruition if you couldn't handle it. And so I think if there is a fear of success, or this fear of like, oh, I have all of this good stuff, am I going to lose it? No, you're not going to lose it, but you do have to trust in yourself and trust that Spirit never gives us more than what we can handle. Okay, let's look at your vibe, your energy in the month of May here. She who radiates knowing, ambition, and confidence. You are being called to feel more confident and to feel more self-assured in May, because you got it going on, group 2. Like, you were doing an amazing job. You were doing so well, but I feel like you're so hard on yourself that it's hard for you to recognize that. But the reason why you have all of these manifestations coming in, all of this abundance, all of these answered prayers, is because you have put in the work. You have sown those seeds. And so don't hesitate here. She who hesitates, don't hesitate to step into your power. And it's funny because even though this says she who hesitates, it still says the word confidence here. So it's like you have a decision to make here. Are you going to radiate your strength? Are you going to believe in yourself? Or are you going to stand at the threshold and fight and pull back and hang on to the past and not welcome in this abundance and this success, right? So if we go back to our example of a business having like overnight growth, you could get really worried, really freaked out. You could say, oh no, I can't fulfill all of these orders. I think I just need to take a break. And then you could just give up, right? Or you could strategize and say, okay, I have all of these customer orders. I know right now I can't fulfill all of these orders. What do I need to do to make that happen? Do I need to hire more people? Do I need to get an assistant? Do I need to restructure my time? Do I need to go part-time at my like full-time job? Is that what I need to do? Like, what do I need to do to take this opportunity that the universe has given me and run with it? How can I continue to expand? How can I continue to believe in myself so that I can thrive? Because I think for a long time here, you've just been trying to survive. And so now that everything you've been wishing for or hoping for is coming in, it's like, there's this feeling of like, I don't know how to handle it. I'm just used to things being tough and just trying to keep my head above water. And now all of a sudden I have all of this success, you know, like I think there's just this fear of dropping the ball, messing up, you know? So yeah, I really like how this is laid out for you. Like, it's literally a choice here. What are you going to do? Are you going to step through this doorway, or are you going to cling to it? Are you going to believe in yourself, or are you going to doubt yourself? Because how you choose to handle these opportunities and this success and this abundance that's coming in is up to you ultimately. You know, like Spirit can throw you a million opportunities and you can decide not to take it. No one's forcing your hand, right? Let's see what's going on for you emotionally in May. Group 2. I do feel like organization planning, but also relying on a support system or developing your support system is going to be really important, because I was drawn to this particular tarot deck for your group. I didn't use it for the other groups. And so, you know, Sailor Moon is all about teamwork, right? Sailor Moon is not that ineffective of a fighter. You know, like she needs her guardians by her side. She really does. And so it's a team effort. And I think you need to start looking at your life as a team effort. You know, we all need help. We all need support. We all need guidance. And so, and even spiritually, like look at it as a team effort. You're not by yourself. You do have the support of the universe, the support of your guides, your angels, your ancestors, your higher self. You have a whole team supporting you, even spirit animals. So believe in that. Believe that you're not on your own. And I feel like that will take some of the pressure off, because you are feeling some pressure here. Group 2, May. That feeling when your car rounds the bend and the view takes your breath away. That's okay. I love this card so much for you, because that's what it is. Like, you've been driving down this path, 7 of Pentacles, sowing your seeds, you know, doing all that kind of stuff, working hard, setting your intentions, trying to manifest, praying for, you know, these wishes to come true, right? And then it's, you know, you can't see the road ahead of you, and then all of a sudden you turn a curve and everything expands, and like that's your abundance, that's your success just like slamming into you. Like, wow. And so it's like, you know, I couldn't have predicted this. I didn't expect all of this to happen. I didn't expect to have all of these good things in my life. And it's like, you're almost afraid to care too much. You're afraid to invest too much of yourself into your work or your friends or your family or your home or your career. I may be repeating myself, or your love life, because there's this fear of losing it all. It's like, I'm afraid that the higher I climb, the more that I have to lose. And it makes you nervous and it makes you anxious. And I think some of you still have in the back of your mind a little bit of a fear of abandonment, or a little bit of fear of almost like a scarcity mentality, or this fear of like not being good enough, not being worthy, not being deserving. And it's holding you back. It's holding you back. We have that feeling when the finish line gives you wings. Yeah, like you are accomplishing something big. Yeah, like you really need to be in like a Leo energy here, Ace of Wands. Like you need to be confident and fake it till you make it. Because you are soaring so much higher, climbing so much higher than you ever thought or you ever predicted that you would. And we could be talking about something that's not just in May. This could be, you know, expanding throughout the next several months for you, or even the rest of the year, where you keep climbing higher than you thought that you would. You know, maybe you're getting into a long-term partnership faster than you anticipated, or you are getting a promotion at work that you didn't predict, or like I said, your business is taking off. Whatever it is, like you are moving at a faster pace through your goals than you ever thought possible. And even if we're talking about like your personal goals here, maybe, for example, if you wanted to lose weight and that was a goal that you had, you wanted to get fitter, you wanted to feel stronger. Sometimes when people have a faster physical change than they were anticipating, even though it's what they wanted, they get more attention, right? And it's faster than what they were. It's almost like they're getting attention faster and they're getting results faster than what they realized. And because they weren't prepared for that mentally, it's like their body is changing faster than their mental state. And so there could be maybe like some body dysmorphia going on, or there could be some confidence issues, some insecurities that are still there. I've seen people have these like physical changes. Actually, I've experienced this myself. I've had like these physical changes, but like your mindset is still in the mindset of before you started, right? And so people are giving you all of this attention and saying, oh my gosh, you look so good, you look so great, but you don't feel that way because when you look in the mirror, you still see your old self. And so that can make, you know, you feel anxious, like, you know, you can feel uncomfortable with the attention, or you can fear that you're going to regress and you're going to lose those good habits. And there's this fear of like, well, you know, like if I go back to my old ways or I slip with my goals here, am I going to lose this positive attention? Or, you know, are people not going to like me as much? Or, and even it can be upsetting too. I know for some people, like, for example, like if losing weight is just an easy way to visualize. I'm not saying losing weight is a good or bad thing. I'm just using it as an example. But I know some people, when they lose weight, you know, they can get a bit upset because people are saying like, oh, you look so great. And then it's almost like people like you more, right? And then that can be pretty hurtful. It's like, well, why am I more likable just because I'm thinner? You know, like that can be hurtful and damaging even to someone's self-confidence. So you may be experiencing something like that. Like if it's a personal goal here that you're accomplishing, and you know, your confidence may just not be moving as quickly or developing as quickly as your actual physical results, right? And so, you know, there may be a disconnect between what your mind is thinking and feeling versus what your physical body is looking like. So it could be something like that if we're talking about our health or fitness goal maybe that you've had. Okay. Let's just get some final sort of advice cards for Spirit for your month of May, group 2. We have weed, don't tolerate less than you deserve. And we have share, the busy bee should still make time for each flower. Okay, yeah. So with this weed card, don't tolerate less than what you deserve. You have a lot of good stuff coming in for you, and you have a lot of abundance and success. And I feel like for you, it's more about believing that you deserve it, believing that you're good enough to maintain it, and don't think that you should ever have to settle for less. And with this share card here, sharing your time. Don't get hyper fixated or focused on one area of your life, because you will set yourself up. I don't want to say for failure, because I think some of you guys have a fear of failure and a fear of success, but in order to get the most out of your month, in order to get the most out of your life in general, you need balance. You need balance between the different areas of your life, and giving too much to one thing is going to be at the overall detriment of your happiness and your contentment, and even possibly your health. We have opportunity. There's no use looking for luck. It arrives at unexpected times. You are getting so much more opportunities in May than you ever anticipated, and that's what's fueling a lot of this anxiety that we've been picking up. Listen, it's better to be anxious about a lot of good stuff than it is to be anxious about a lot of setbacks. So you've got some good problems in May. We've got success, bloom wherever you are planted, and we've got transform, rise above any situation and become the best version of you. You are becoming the best version of yourself. That's why you're being called to feel more confident, to step up. And, you know, there is a lot of success, a lot of abundance, and I think it just makes you nervous. You're just nervous about messing up. You're nervous about sort of losing ground. You're worried about regressing, and you don't have to. You don't have to have that fear unless you want to carry it around with you. It's your choice, but you don't have to have that fear. You are capable. You are good enough. You are deserving. You can handle all of this. You can. You may have to make some adjustments. You may have to reorganize your time, reorganize your priorities. Again, work smarter, not harder. Ask for help more, lean on your supports more, but even if it's spiritual support, divine support, but you will get through it, and you are good enough. And I know this reading probably felt like a pep talk, but I think for the month of May, you're going to need it. You're going to need it. And yeah, I mean, I'm happy for you. I'm excited for you. And I hope that you can... It's almost like you're going to be on a roller coaster, and it's going to be really, really fun. But, you know, a roller coaster is a set track, right? And so when you're having those dips in the track, don't be afraid that everything is falling to pieces. You're going to get at that destination. That's part of success, right? Like, even the most successful companies or the most successful businesses have their dips. Even the most successful romantic partnerships have their arguments, right? Like, nothing is ever perfectly linear. So don't feel like you're dropping the ball or you're gonna lose everything just because something is maybe a little bit uncertain, because you did get the moon card, right? Don't worry, it's all okay. You are already exactly where you're meant to be, and you are exactly good enough. Like, you are exactly good enough. All of this abundance and success is meant for you, and it's okay. It's all okay. All right, group 2, these were your messages. I hope you enjoyed it, and I will see you in my next one. Welcome to your reading. So we're going to be looking at your month of May 2023. A big thank you to my guides and your guides for coordinating these messages. Group 3, we're going to do all uprights today, and we're going to be shuffling on camera, so it may take a little bit longer. Group 3, we're using the Chubby Cat Tarot for your group. I love this deck. Okay. Group 3, May 2023. We've got Temperance to start us off. We've got the Hermit, okay. Very spiritual month already. We've got the Seven of Pentacles. Oh man, the Ten of Swords. Bless your heart, Group 3. Let's see. Oh, and we have the Lovers. Let's clarify the Lovers here. Oh, yep, okay. When the Lovers came out, I heard a choice, a decision to be made. And then we have the Two of Swords to come out. And I said no reversals, but when I pulled it, it was in reverse. And so this can talk about indecision and taking a time out and trying to listen to your intuition to make a choice, to follow your own, inner guidance here. And so we'll get into what that means for the rest of your cards, but we were right on the money about this being a decision, a choice that you're going to be making. So if you were hesitating before about making a decision, by the end of May, you will have made that choice. Some of you know exactly what I'm talking about, and others of you may not know yet. Bottom of the deck, we have the Chariot. Yeah, this also talks about making a choice. So there we go. Queen of Cups, following your heart. Okay. So it's going to be probably a more difficult month for you all than the other two groups in a different way. I think that this is a month where following your heart is going to be very key. I feel like with this Ten of Swords here, you all have, and it may have been something that's been going on for months. For some of you, it could be years, but you all have been in a tough cycle. You all have felt like what you had invested in just turned around and stabbed you in the back. Like there's just this feeling of like, I gave so much with that Seven of Pentacles. I gave so much of myself to something just to have it thrown in my face. And it can be different things for different people, right? It's a general reading, but ultimately there was a turning point for you all, Group 3, and it may be happening in May. For some of you, you may already be in this process. You know, everyone's on a different sort of space in their spiritual journey here, but you know, if the Hermit card's been following you around for a while, then, or even the Temperance card, if those energies have been following you around, then I think you're already in this process. But just take what resonates. But there's going to be a shift where instead of giving everything that you have, instead of giving 100%, giving all of you to people, places, and things, you're going to pull back and you're going to say, I'm only going to give to places, people, things that give back to me, like what gives energetically back to me. And so you're learning how to balance, you're learning how to hold back enough so there's enough love and energy and time for yourself. And so there's a process here of taking care of yourself first and understanding that you can't self-sacrifice. You can't fall on the sword to make somebody else happy, and you can't overwork yourself to the point of burnout for the sake of your job. Like, it's not sustainable. Like, whatever this was, and for some of you it could be multiple things, but you just gave so much to get nothing or very little in return, or even to be hurt in return. And so you're like, where is my energy going to be appreciated? Where is my love and my effort going to be appreciated? And you're choosing to go in that direction. So you're choosing to make some pretty big changes in the month of May. Some pretty big changes, because you're like, you know what? I'm gonna get up, dust myself off, and I'm gonna go somewhere else. I'm gonna go where I am appreciated, where I am loved, where I feel held, where I feel supported, because I give that out there. I put that out there, and I'm tired of not getting it back. And so there's an appreciation now for reciprocity, because the Hermit here talks about a journey. So does the Chariot. And then we have this repeating theme of choice. And we have this idea of balance, of things needing to be in harmony. And so let's see if we can I'm going to get a couple more tarot cards for you. What is this choice about, or what are you moving towards? It may be different, so I may not get as much clarity here as I want. Okay, we have the Seven of Swords and we have the Six of Wands. So success, victory, and also moving away from people who lie, people who are deceitful, people who would betray you to suit their own needs, people who are self-serving. You're leaving that energy behind. You are welcoming in the energy of people who are going to applaud you, people who are going to be genuinely happy for you, instead of being around people who smile in your face but secretly want you to fail. You're going to leave that energy behind. You're going to really find, I think, your community, like people who genuinely support you, people who are honest, people who are loyal. Yeah, you've had your heart broken. Three of Swords. You've had your heart broken so many times over. And I mean, this could even be talking about your work life too. Like, you know, companies who wanted to take advantage of you, companies that wanted to overwork you and not fairly compensate you for your time and your talent and your skill level. You're leaving that behind. Some of you really could be moving with the Two of Wands here. And with the Hierophant, I feel like you're kind of coming into this sense of like, almost like leadership, like you're going where you're going to be respected. Because I feel like for a lot of you, that's at the root of a lot of this, is that romantic partners, family, friends, management at your old job, whatever the case was, like there's just this prevailing sense of like disrespect. And you're like, you know what, not anymore. Like, I'm not going to continue to be treated in this way. Cozy. I think you're finding your home. You're finding your home. And so with the Nine of Cups here, like there's a desire for a certain wish to come true. For some of you, it's wanting to find a place where you can feel at home. And so for some of you, it could be talking about, you know, a job that's right for you, a relationship that's right for you, a friend group that's right for you. But it's the opposite of whatever has broken your heart. And I feel like for a lot of you too, like, you don't want this to break your spirit. You don't want this to make you unkind. You don't want this to make you guarded, and you don't want this to make you feel like you can't, like you can't trust, or you can't be hopeful, or you can't dream, or you can't wish. Like you don't want to feel jaded because of all of this. Like you refuse to feel that way. You refuse to succumb to that. You're like, you know what? No. Like I'm going to choose better for myself, and I have more control over this than I think that maybe I thought that I did in the past. Yeah, she who regrets. But here it says battle, victory, bitterness. Like you don't want to fall into that. You're like, you know what? I could sit here and have all of these regrets and think about all of the things I could have done differently, and I could put the blame on myself. I could. And I could wish that I had made different choices, or I could say, you know what? I made the choices with a good intentioned heart, and you know, I maybe trusted the wrong people, but there wasn't anything wrong with me. It was their behavior that was wrong. It wasn't me. I gave the best that I could, and it's not my fault that I didn't get that in return. It's not my fault. And so it's like you're seeing victory where you could see defeat with that 10 of Swords. You're like, you know what? As much as you all have tried to take from me, I'm still here. And you're choosing to love yourself. You're choosing to dust yourself off and say, I deserve better. And I'm choosing to see this as a lesson learned and to see it as a victory. Because no matter, you know, like how much this situation or this person has tried to drain me, I'm still here. She who listens. You're definitely listening to the divine here. You're listening to your heart. And you're having compassion for yourself. And I think that's the biggest thing. Like, you give so much to so many. You just give so much. Like, you have just such a pure heart. And to see that taken advantage of time and time again is... it's tough. It's tough. But I think the compassion that you give to yourself is going to be your saving grace. We have she who brings the light. I mean, literally, you're bringing the light. You know, it's like your own heart is guiding you here. Like your own capacity for compassion and love and understanding is your saving grace. You are getting yourself out of this. You're saving yourself. Sorry, my chair is like squeaking all over the place. Like I have it like shoved against the desk, and that's not usually where it is, so I'm sorry if you're hearing that. It's distracting me. Hopefully it's not distracting you too much. But anyway, yeah, like you're your own, you know how they say like, oh, there's a light at the end of the tunnel? And I know I've said this message before in a reading, but it's, you are the light, you yourself. It's like coming back home to yourself, finding yourself again, and not falling prey to, I feel like it's almost like you've been taught or you've been told to think lesser of yourself. And it's just this sort of reclamation of self. Like, I am so much more than what you told me I could be. And it's your loss that you didn't see my potential, or that you didn't see all of me. That's your loss. It's your loss. What are the major themes of your life, Group 3, for the month of May? Major themes. May is a big month. We have dream sweet, sleep deep. Sleep that's deep and last till morn. Wondrous dreams for days reborn. I mean, this could literally mean that you're resting more in the month of May, but I feel like you're sleeping more peacefully. I feel like you're living more easily because there's this feeling of being untethered. There's this feeling of like, thank you for cutting me free. Thank you for letting me go, because now you're going to watch me fly. Now you're going to watch me rise. Now you're going to have to eat your own words, because I am going to show you exactly what I'm made of. And it's your loss that you couldn't recognize that you couldn't see that. So it's the energy of like someone maybe being fired from their job and them finding a much better position, making double the pay the next week, you know, after being stuck at a dead-end job. and not being appreciated. It's the energy of someone being broken up with and then meeting the love of their life, you know? Like it's this energy of like someone being cheated on, and then the ending of that relationship leads them to meeting their life partner. It's like, I'm so much more than what you thought I could be. I'm so much more. I'm so much greater. I have so much love to give, and if you couldn't recognize that, or I have so much talent, so many skills, so much intelligence, and if you couldn't see that, that's your loss. And I think a lot of people could see that, but it's almost like they wanted to trick you into thinking that you weren't good enough because of their own projections and their own insecurities and things like that. I feel like this is one of your greatest strengths as well. And I'm actually going to get an extra card for you all. Yeah, here we go. This is your greatest strength, your trust, your faith. Because honestly, a lot with the 10 of Swords, 3 of Swords, 7 of Swords, even Temperance, what you have been through, I feel like would have just devastated the average person. Like, I feel like you have this sense of resiliency, but that resiliency comes from your faith and your trust. And so I feel like out of all the groups today, you would be the most connected to the divine, and that's your greatest strength. And I'm with the friendship card here, like, you got a friend in the divine. Like, you have so much divine support. You have so much love from the divine. Like, you would be like the favorite child, you know? Like, you are a child of the universe. And I just feel like, especially in the month of May, you're being called to lean into that, to remember that, and to honor that as your greatest strength. Temperance, the way that you handle these profound betrayals and losses, that 10 of Swords, the way that you handled that with grace, it is being recognized. It's not going unnoticed. Please don't feel like it's going unnoticed. The universe sees your pain, and the universe is saying, like, I bear witness to you, and it's not all in vain. So it's a heavier message. It is. You have a heavier reading. You do. But I feel like it's hard. I feel like Spirit is saying, like, even if no one in your life is acknowledging what you have been through, we see you. And it wasn't all for nothing. And it's not a punishment. And what is on the other side of this is so good. And we're so sorry that you had to experience these things, but your soul came here, your soul incarnated in this lifetime to do some big things. And even if it's stuff that other people don't see, even if it's your healing spiritual journey, even if other people don't see it, even if other people don't get it, it doesn't mean that that work isn't important. The greatest thing you will do in this lifetime is that healing and that spiritual work, because your connection to the divine is it's just such a major factor, a major theme of your life's work. And that's the best way that I can explain it, and I hope that that makes sense. And I know that that's not something that other people might recognize or understand, because we're so tied to the material, but it is so important, and it is something to be proud of. Okay, I've gone out of order compared to how I did the other groups. Let's actually get these cards here. I'm sorry, I know this is looking messy too. It's all right. Lineage of the Rose, moved by the goddess, here for this soul call, gather. Some of you are really healing some generational trauma, ancestral patterns, breaking things that have things that have been perpetuated, I'm hearing, in your bloodline. If there's repeating themes, repeating patterns of unhappiness or dissatisfaction, problems that you see repeating in your family tree, it's going to end with you. You're the one who's going to break that cycle. The Holy Grail, stop the endless searching, inner quest. You're going to stop seeking outside of yourself for your happiness and your fulfillment and your safety and your security. You're going to give that to yourself. Again, everything that you have been, I'm sorry for the sirens, everything that you have been giving away to others so freely, you are now giving to yourself. And that's why you're going to feel so whole, so at peace. And so you're going to be motivated. You're going to be motivated from a place of like purity and a place of like what feels right in your heart, and not be motivated by external validation or external reward. You're going to be following what brings you emotional happiness and peace and contentment and fulfillment. Healing the mother line. I mean, we were just talking about this. There may be you could have like a difficult relationship with your mother. This could also be talking about patterns that have existed with women in your family, regardless of your gender, but you would be breaking that cycle. So if there's been patterns of dissatisfaction or wounds that have existed with the women in your family, you are breaking that cycle. You are breaking that chain. If you have a daughter, you will not be passing that on to her. So that could be like body image issues. It could be, it's reminding me of Beyonce's Lemonade and the poetry that Warsaw Shire did for her, where she says, the women in my family die waiting. I didn't want to die waiting. So she was referring to women in her family being with partners who were unfaithful, who cheated, and would have them waiting up all night for them to come home just for them to not come home, or waiting for them to commit when they were never going to commit, waiting for them to be faithful when they were never going to be faithful, and trying to be patient and waiting for someone to grow up and seeing that they're never going to commit, they're never going to grow up, they're never going to be faithful, they're never going to be the person that I need them to be, the love that I deserve. And so she's saying, I don't want to die waiting. And so that could be an example then, you know, of like a wound you would heal. It would stop with you. You would say, I deserve better than this. I'm not going to be in, you know, an unhealthy romantic partnership like all the women in my family before me. We have Council of Light, Divine Orchestration, Helpers in the Subtle Realms. I told you, you have so much divine support. Like, your spiritual team works magic in your life. Like, they are I mean, I'm not saying that you don't have free will, but I feel like Spirit has a heavy hand in your life. Like, they have a big influence in your life. They intervene a lot to help you. They do. Pillar of Light, your vibration is rising. You are the oracle. Yeah, like some of you are meant to be spiritual teachers. You're meant to share your wisdom. You're meant to share the things you learn along that hermit journey here. And with your vibration is rising, like you're not going to be repeating the past with that Ten of Swords. Like you're not going to be attracting the same low vibrational stuff maybe you were subconsciously attracting before. Yeah. Too many cards. Let's get one more. Answer the call. What is your soul calling you to? I mean, that's the Hermit card. Yeah, answering the call. I'm feeling the energy of the Judgment card as well, even though we didn't get that card. But just the idea of like, where am I meant to go? Even your bottom of the deck is Warrior Woman. Have you answered your deepest calling? I mean, this is giving like Queen of Swords vibes here. Yeah. You do have, and I think that's part of like what causes this feeling, this sort of pressure, because your soul did come here with, I feel like, either a really big goal or a list of things that it wanted to accomplish, and it's heavy. It's a lot of spiritual work. It's a lot of deep introspection. It's a lot of shadow work. It's a lot of learning through, I feel like, relationships with other people, learning through connections, and that can be tough. And you can start to wonder, like, when am I going to stop having all of these karmic connections? Like, when am I just going to have something that is healthy and that feels good? And it's tough. It is tough, but you are rising. You are ascending. Like, you're getting your wings. And so it's going to be okay. You are coming into alignment. It is going to be okay. But it is about, I think, making that choice that we got in the very beginning with the Lovers. And it could be making a choice, too, to leave behind something. A relationship, a connection. And in doing so, then you call in your soulmate. Then you call in your soul family. Because some of you, I really feel like, are learning through connections. We have that feeling when your plant baby makes a flower and you didn't even know it could do that. You are, I feel like, discovering strengths about yourself. You are surprising yourself. And I think some of you may have thought, like, I would fall to pieces if that ever happened to me. I don't think I could overcome something like that. And then you do, times 10. Like, your own resiliency is surprising to you. There's so much, you can handle so much more than you give yourself credit for. We have that feeling when nothing is happening and everything is perfect and whole. I feel like in the month of May, you're finding so much peace within your own energy. You are enjoying your own company, and you are feeling this sense of rightness after this feeling of such profound loss. And I feel like for you all, it's like you're losing so much to gain so much. And it's almost like you were clinging to something that was hurting you so much, but then when it finally does leave, when it finally leaves you, the relief you feel is going to be so surprising. It could be like you clinging to a really toxic, I'm just throwing out an example, maybe you're clinging to a really toxic relationship, but then when that person finally walks away or forces you to walk away because their behavior becomes so bad, you finally feel like you can breathe again, and it surprises you. Like, you thought you would be devastated, but actually, as hurt as you may feel, you're still standing back up. And I think the fact that you do that, the fact that you can move on, is going to be quite surprising to you. We have that feeling when a project lights you up, and for the time, the world bursts with prismatic radiance. There could be something in May, something that you start, or something new that you start to invest in, that I think will help you through your grieving process, that will help you get out of that 10 of Swords, that will help you move in the direction of your success, that will help you make those hard choices just by almost like getting you into flow state and letting you clear your mind and be present enough to follow your heart, to get those downloads from spirit that I think that you need. And so I think for a lot of you, it may be sort of like a creative project or a hobby that you pick up, and it's just something that clears your mind, that distracts you long enough from that 10 of Swords energy and that hurt that you feel, and you start to rebuild your life from that space. And so it could be like literally taking up photography. Maybe you start writing. Maybe you start I don't know, maybe you start to learn an instrument, or you start knitting. It's just, it could be something so small, like you decide to take a walk every day, but there's something that you're doing, some sort of new untapped potential within you that you're discovering about yourself. And it's like you are giving yourself a lifeline that you didn't expect. You are finding something that helps you be present when before all you wanted to do was escape. You are finding something that helps you regain your footing in your own life again and helps you rebuild. You know, like if you think about Elle Woods in Legally Blonde, right? Like she was devastated. She thought she was going to get engaged and instead she got dumped. And then she never expected to actually like law. She never expected to actually be a good lawyer. She was just going to Harvard to get her man back. And then in doing so, she discovered this new aspect about herself. So from the loss, she gained something so incredible about herself. She gained confidence in something that she thought she was just going to have to fake, you know? Something like that. But something that you are discovering about yourself. It's making me think of a lot of novels that I've read, like coming of age novels where, you know, almost even like Eat, Pray, Love. I never read that book, but I remember watching the movie and just like this idea of just trying something new, getting out of your usual space. And even if it's just trying new foods or traveling to new places or, like I said, like just like picking up a new hobby, a new creative pursuit, it's like you're throwing yourself a lifeline. You are getting yourself out of that funk. You are finding joy in the darkest of times. You are the light and you are saving yourself, and Spirit is cheering you on. And even if you can't see your guides, they are walking beside you. And yeah, I feel like you're going to be in a much better space mentally and emotionally and physically by the end of May. This is so cute. Your bottom of the deck is that feeling when you rescue a friend. You're being a friend to yourself. You're saving yourself. And maybe that's a big change for you. Maybe you've always been someone who's been really hard on yourself, really critical of yourself. And to be a friend to yourself, that may be a huge dynamic shift in how you typically treat yourself, because they always say, as corny as it is, the most important relationship you will ever have is your relationship with yourself. And I feel like for some of you, this is the first time where you're really going to truly be a friend to yourself. So if you saw a friend going through the 10 of Swords, a really dark, horrible time, like you would be a best friend to them. You would help them, right? You would assist them. You would make them laugh. You would find ways to entertain them, to distract them, to help them heal, to help them emotionally process. So it's like you're doing all of that for yourself. Final advice cards here for group 3 for the month of May. We have patience. Wait for the fruit to ripen. I feel like this is saying have patience with yourself because you are healing. We have surprises. Venture down the rabbit hole. Yeah, I mean, go with the flow, because I feel like Spirit is really guiding you somewhere where you're going to have that wish fulfillment, because we did get the 9 of Cups and that victory, that success with the 6 of Wands. We have self-care. Tend to your garden. Yeah, you're going to be taking care of yourself, being kind to yourself. We have dream. Have a cup of tea in the garden and find yourself in a good book. This is my favorite card in this whole deck. There's something here about finding a sense of peace. You know, even if you're not someone who enjoys tea or sitting in a garden and reading, it doesn't have to be exactly that, but just that idea of finding your sanctuary, finding a place where you feel peaceful, finding an activity that gets you in that flow state. For me, when I do these readings, it's like the only time in my life where I can 100% say with honesty that I'm not thinking about my own life, you know, that I'm like, when I am like channeling for you all, I'm not thinking about my problems. The closest thing next to it is reading a book, because I do love to read. But even then, when I'm reading a book, I can still apply it to my own life if I resonate with a character. But when I'm channeling for you all, I'm not even most of the time like remotely thinking about myself. Sometimes Spirit will bring my own personal experiences in so I can relate it to you all better. But for the most part, I feel completely tuned in. So some sort of activity that's going to help you do that, that's going to help you forget your life for a little while. And in doing so, almost like ironically, maybe not, paradoxically, anyway, whatever. You guys get what I'm saying. In a weird way, as you forget your life and you get in that flow state and you feel completely immersed in that activity, whatever it is, whether, again, it's playing an instrument, painting, writing, taking a bike ride, hiking, whatever gets you in that flow state, you're going to get those downloads from spirit. You're going to get those intuitive nudges that are going to help you in your life, that are going to help guide you in your life. But it's like you got to clear out that mental clutter, find that space of peace and calmness where you're immersed in what you're doing and your mind is clear, and then that is when spirit can speak to you best. Some of you may get into meditation and it may be that straightforward, but I feel like for most of you, it's going to be an activity. It's going to be something that you really love, a new hobby, a new passion, some new talent that you didn't know that you had. You're going to get in that flow state and it's going to really help you, not only in the month of May, but just in your life from this point forward. Okay, group 3, these were your messages. I know they were more intense than the others, and I mean, it is what it is. I think spiritually it's a heavy month for you, and do the best that you can. Be kind to yourself, and I'm wishing you all the very best. Please take care, and I will see you in my next one.